There is one character who appeared in almost every episode, yet millions of viewers never saw that person's full face. It sounds unbelievable, but that's only the beginning. Behind Home Improvement 1991, there are also behind-the-scenes secrets, controversies, strange facts, and even crazy decisions that helped create one of the most famous sitcoms of the 90s. Don't look away, because the further you get into the list, the more unbelievable the weird facts become. Are you ready to discover the truth behind it all? Leave a comment below. Now, let's begin with Number 12. Tim Allen was once a criminal before becoming television's favorite dad. Before Tim Allen became America's familiar father figure, teaching people how to use power tools, grunting whenever he fixed something around the house, and making flannel shirts an icon, he had a past that few people would have imagined. A past that led him straight to a federal prison. In 1978, at just 25 years old, Tim Allen, whose real name is Timothy Allen Dick, was arrested at Kalamazoo Battle Creek International Airport for drug trafficking. He was found carrying more than 650 grams of cocaine, an amount large enough to face a life sentence. Facing that possibility, Tim Allen agreed to cooperate with prosecutors, identifying other drug traffickers in exchange for a reduced sentence. Thanks to that agreement, he served just over 2 years in prison and was released in 1981. After getting out of prison, Allen did not choose to live quietly, but instead turned to stand-up comedy. His humorous stories about men, family, and home repair quickly made him famous. By the early 1990s, he was cast in the lead role in Home Improvement, turning a former criminal into a father loved by millions of viewers. Just a few years later, Tim Allen continued his success with the voice role of Buzz Lightyear and as Santa Claus in The Santa Claus. Interestingly, ABC was fully aware of Tim Allen's criminal past when they gave him the leading role. But in the end, what they cared about most was his appeal to audiences, not his previous record. Number 11. Pamela Anderson got her first career break through her role as Lisa, the Tool Time Girl. Before Baywatch turned Pamela Anderson into a star known across America, and before she became one of the most searched women on the early internet, she appeared on Home Improvement with the job of handing repair tools to Tim Allen. Pamela played Lisa, the Tool Time Girl. Her job was very simple. Stand next to Tim and Al, hand them a drill or a wrench when asked, then smile before the chaos was about to begin. It doesn't sound like a very complicated role, but that role became the first major turning point in her career. After 2 seasons, Pamela Anderson caught the attention of the producers of Baywatch, who were looking for a new face for the hit series. The skill of running on the beach in slow motion was probably very different from handing a wrench to Tim Allen, but both helped her stand out in front of the camera. By the 3rd season, Pamela officially joined Baywatch as a full-time cast member. The character Lisa quietly disappeared from Home Improvement without any explanation, and Debbie Dunning later took over the role of the Tool Time Girl for more than 140 episodes. Pamela Anderson's career then took off. She became an icon of Baywatch, appeared on countless magazine covers, and became one half of one of the most famous couples in 1990s pop culture when she married Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee. It's hard to believe that it all started with just 2 seasons of standing next to Tim Allen and handing him repair tools on Tool Time. Number 10. Wilson's hidden face came from Tim Allen's own childhood. Every sitcom needs its own signature. Cheers had a bar. Seinfeld had an apartment hallway. Home Improvement had Wilson, the neighbor whose full-face viewers never got to see. Interestingly, the idea did not come from the writer's room, but from Tim Allen's own childhood. When he was a child, Allen was too short to see over his neighbor's fence. Every time they talked, he could only see the other person's forehead or eyes, while the voice came from the other side of the fence. Many years later, that memory became one of the most iconic visual jokes in television history. Earl Hindman, who played Wilson, gave more to the character than audiences imagined. Throughout all 204 episodes, Wilson's face was always hidden behind a fence, gardening tools, Halloween masks, and countless other props. According to the crew, Hindman even kept the mystery alive after the cameras stopped rolling, often standing behind props so that no one would accidentally see his entire face. The audience absolutely loved it, and Wilson quickly became one of the most beloved characters on the show. He always offered thoughtful advice, often quoted literature, and almost always had exactly what Tim needed to hear, although Tim usually misunderstood it and ended up creating even more trouble. It was not until the final episode in 1999, after 8 seasons and 204 episodes, that Home Improvement finally let viewers see Wilson's full face for the first time. It was an emotional moment that brought one of the most famous secrets in sitcom history to a close. It's hard to believe that one of the longest-running and most memorable jokes in television history began with a very simple memory. Tim Allen was once a little boy who was too short to see over his neighbor's fence. Number 9. The creators of Home Improvement sued Disney and did not win a complete victory. Home Improvement was not only successful during its original run, but also continued to generate enormous profits through reruns for many years. However, the 3 creators of the show, Matt Williams, Carmen Finestra, and David McFadzean, believed that the share of the profits they received was far too small. They had only one question: is that all? In 2013, they officially filed a lawsuit against the Walt Disney Company. The lawsuit centered on what Hollywood commonly calls Hollywood accounting, a controversial accounting practice that can make a production earn a great deal of money while appearing to show little or no profit on the tame books. The 3 creators claimed that Disney had undervalued revenue from rerun licensing, especially a deal in the New York market that they believed did not provide fair compensation. At first, Disney argued that the lawsuit had been filed after the statute of limitations had expired. However, the court ruled that Disney may have interfered with the audit process, preventing the creators from discovering the alleged problems in the revenue accounting sooner. As a result, the lawsuit was allowed to proceed. Disney faced the possibility of having to disclose how the show's profits were calculated in court. But in 2019, the 2 sides reached an out-of-court settlement with terms that were not disclosed. The 3 creators helped make one of America's most successful sitcoms, yet they still had to pursue a lawsuit for 6 years to seek the share of the profits they believed they deserved. It is also a reminder that in Hollywood, enormous success can sometimes come with long-lasting legal battles. Number 8. The show faced 2 major casting disasters. Most sitcoms can only hope that their original cast will be the right fit. But Home Improvement had to replace 2 major roles.
You're afraid to go down that deep, dark basement, aren't you?
No, I'm not afraid. Just don't like it, when the furnace goes whoosh.
All right, I'll light the pilot light if I get a big kiss.
Do I have to?
You have to.
Okay, but only if I really have to.
Before Patricia Richardson became Tim Taylor's famous wife, the role of Jill Taylor actually belonged to Frances Fisher. That's right.
Could you maybe work up a little enthusiasm?
I'm sorry, honey. Gosh, I'm excited that you won't be laying around the house mooching off the boys and me. Oh, do the other side. Oh, I'm your love slave.
Is it okay if I go over to Tommy's?
What?
The actress who later played Ruth DeWitt Bukater in Titanic filmed the pilot episode with Tim Allen, but both the producers and the test audience felt that the chemistry between the 2 was not convincing enough. Fisher's performance leaned too much toward drama for a family sitcom, so ABC decided to replace the actress before the show premiered. Patricia Richardson was cast after a short audition and quickly became Jill Taylor throughout all 8 seasons. But that was not the only casting that almost failed. The role of Al Borland was originally given to Stephen Tobolowsky, but he had to withdraw because of a scheduling conflict with another film. Then Richard Karn came along. Interestingly, he learned about the audition while attending traffic school after receiving a speeding ticket. Karn made an immediate impression and won the role. Even after being cast, he continued working as an apartment building manager for a while because he did not believe the show would succeed. Not bad at all for someone who just happened to be there because of a speeding ticket, but who ultimately became one of the most beloved faces on American television during the 1990s. Number 7. Patricia Richardson turned down $25 million for season 9. Few people know that Home Improvement did not end because it lost viewers. By 1999, after 8 seasons, the show was still one of the highest-rated sitcoms in America. Yet a ninth season was never made because the stars turned down contracts worth more than $75 million. ABC was determined to continue the series and was willing to spend heavily. Tim Allen was offered $50 million for 25 episodes, equal to $2 million per episode, while Patricia Richardson was offered a contract worth $25 million. It was still an amount of money that many actors could only dream of. But after 8 years of playing Jill Taylor, Richardson felt it was time to bring her journey to an end. Instead of refusing immediately, she made a demand that she almost certainly knew ABC would not accept. Richardson asked for a salary of $2 million per episode, equal to Tim Allen's, and also wanted to be credited as an executive producer. Did she really want to come back? Probably not. Her message was very clear. If the show was willing to spend tens of millions of dollars, then her contributions deserved to be recognized on equal terms with her co-star. ABC quickly rejected that request. But what surprised the network even more was that Tim Allen also refused to continue if Patricia Richardson left. The network considered several options, from writing Jill out of the story to having the character die. However, Tim Allen did not agree with any of those choices. In his view, without Jill, there was no Home Improvement. Even the show's final episode reflected what happened in real life, as Tim and Al left Tool Time because of interference from the television network's executives. In the end, both Tim Allen and Patricia Richardson chose principal over an enormous paycheck. ABC had no choice but to bring one of America's most successful sitcoms to a close, simply because it could not keep the show's two most important stars. Number 6. Jonathan Taylor Thomas left Home Improvement to go to college, and things became pretty tense after that. In the mid-1990s, Jonathan Taylor Thomas was one of America's biggest teen idols. His face was everywhere on the covers of Tiger Beat. He had an enormous fan base, and he was loved by millions of young viewers. Yet just as his career was reaching its peak, Jonathan made a decision that surprised Hollywood. He decided to leave Home Improvement, not because he had run out of opportunities, but because he wanted to continue his education. Jonathan enrolled at Harvard University, then later transferred to Columbia University, where he studied philosophy and history. While many stars of his generation were busy with photo shoots and red carpet events, Jonathan spent most of his time with books and writing papers in the classroom. However, Tim Allen was not happy with that decision. He publicly expressed his disappointment, especially when Jonathan continued appearing in several movies after leaving Home Improvement. To Tim Allen, it no longer sounded like, "I want to focus on my education," but more like, "I just don't want to continue this sitcom anymore." The relationship between the two became so strained that Jonathan did not appear in the show's final episode in 1999, even though the production team invited him back several times so he could have a proper farewell with the audience. For many years afterward, Tim Allen admitted that he had felt hurt, while Jonathan remained almost completely silent and focused on his private life. It took more than 10 years before things truly changed. In 2013, Jonathan unexpectedly appeared on Tim Allen's sitcom, Last Man Standing, not only as a guest star, but also returning several times and even directing a number of episodes. It was a happy ending to a relationship that had been distant for many years, and a career journey that almost no one could have predicted. From a teen star who left a sitcom to attend college, missed the final episode of Home Improvement, and then years later stood behind the camera directing the very man who had played his television father. It truly was a journey that even Hollywood could hardly have written in advance. If you were Jonathan Taylor Thomas, would you choose millions of dollars and fame or leave Hollywood to go to college? Share your choice and your thoughts in the comments. Number 5. Tim Allen's signature grunt took him to the height of fame and may have also sent him to the doctor. At first, it was just a joke. Tim Allen added a caveman-style grunt to emphasize funny moments. But no one expected that sound to become the signature of Home Improvement. Audiences gradually became familiar with Tim Allen's raspy grunt. He used it when things went well, when something went wrong, when he was excited, frustrated, or simply to get another laugh. At one point, that grunt almost became the show's second language. But then the very thing that made it so recognizable began to cause problems. According to many behind-the-scenes stories, repeatedly using such a loud and raspy voice was believed to have put considerable strain on Tim Allen's throat. Although there is no official medical documentation confirming this, some members of the production team said that by around the middle of the series, he often had to rest his voice, and the producers also encouraged him to cut back on the familiar grunts. Because of that, the grunt was still heard in the later seasons, but it became softer and less frequent. It no longer sounded like a caveman holding a wrench, but more like a father trying to protect his voice after a bad cold. Whether it was a creative decision or an effort to protect his vocal cords, that iconic sound changed over time. The grunt helped make Tim Allen one of America's most famous sitcom stars and created a signature that countless viewers, especially fathers, tried to imitate. If it really did make his vocal cords work too hard, then perhaps it was still a price worth paying for one of the most memorable sound trademarks in television history. Number 4. The ages of the three sons on Home Improvement were actually mixed up. Hollywood casting directors have only one job: to find actors who fit the roles. But the Home Improvement casting team got only 2/3 of it right. Here's the problem. Zachary Ty Bryan was cast as Brad, the oldest son in the Taylor family. Meanwhile, Jonathan Taylor Thomas was cast as Randy, the middle son. Interestingly, in real life, Jonathan was actually 1 month older than Zachary. Jonathan was born on the 8th of September, 1981, while Zachary was born on the 9th of October, 1981. Maybe that is why Randy always seemed more mature and smarter than Brad. Not only because of the script, but because Jonathan was actually older than the actor playing his older brother. Meanwhile, Taron Noah Smith, who played the youngest son, Mark, was also the youngest of the three actors in real life. At least that time, the production got it right. Even so, almost no one noticed the difference because the age gap between Brad and Randy was only a little more than 1 month, and all three gave very convincing performances. Brad was the sports-loving son. Randy was smart, witty, and loved to argue. Mark was the sensitive youngest brother, but the most meaningful part was what happened behind the scenes. The most meaningful thing was that Tim Allen always tried to help the young actors feel less pressure while filming. During tapings in front of a live audience, he would sometimes intentionally say the wrong line, so the younger actors would understand that even the show's biggest star could make mistakes. That one small gesture helped the young actors become much more confident performing in front of hundreds of audience members, and it helped create the warm atmosphere that Home Improvement maintained throughout its many years on the air. Number 3. The studio audience was also the audience for Tool Time. Most sitcoms are filmed in front of a live audience, but Home Improvement used them in an even smarter way. The people who came to watch the taping did not just follow the story of the Taylor family, they also became the audience for Tool Time inside the world of the show. Whenever Tim and Al filmed Tool Time, the production team did not need to hire extras or add canned laughter. They simply used the audience already sitting in the studio. That also meant that if you were lucky enough to get a ticket, you got to watch 2 shows during the same taping. You would watch Tim arguing with Jill in the Taylor family's kitchen, then just a few minutes later cheer as he almost electrocuted himself on Tool Time. Because of that, the laughter during the Tool Time segments was the audience's real reaction, not an effect added afterward. As a result, this fictional show felt surprisingly real. It was both a cost-saving idea and a way to make Home Improvement feel more natural. Quite a few people even said that after leaving the studio, they had just attended a taping of Tool Time, and in fact, they were not wrong. Number 2. Tim Allen once had the #1 television show, movie, and book at the same time. In November 1994, Tim Allen achieved something that very few Hollywood stars have ever accomplished. The sitcom Home Improvement was #1 in the television ratings. At the same time, the Christmas movie The Santa Claus was #1 at the box office, while the book Don't Stand Too Close to a Naked Man also reached the #1 spot on the New York Times bestseller list. That's right. Tim Allen was dominating television, movies, and publishing all at the same time. People turned on the television and saw him in Home Improvement, went to the movie theater and saw him as Santa Claus, then walked into a bookstore and found his name on the bestseller shelf. Dominating television, movies, and publishing at the same time was already extremely rare. What was even more remarkable was that just a little more than 10 years earlier, Tim Allen had still been in federal prison. His book was not a memoir written by someone else, but a collection of humorous stories in his own distinctive style, centered on men, relationships, and everyday life. Meanwhile, The Santa Claus was simply a family comedy about a man who accidentally became Santa Claus. Yet the movie became far more successful than expected and later spawned several sequels. For a brief period in 1994, Tim Allen seemed to be everywhere. Even the fictional Benford Tools brand in home improvement seemed to become part of the cultural phenomenon he created. Number 1. Home Improvement once had a video game, and it was stranger than you think. The 1990s were a time when, if a movie or television show became popular enough, it was almost certain that someone would make a tie-in game. Home Improvement was no exception. In 1994, Absolute Entertainment decided to turn Home Improvement, a sitcom about home improvement, into an action game called Home Improvement: Power Tool Pursuit for the Super Nintendo. The story was incredibly bizarre. Benford Tools' new tools were stolen by industrial spies, and instead of calling the police, Tim grabbed a grappling gun and set out to recover them. But that was only the beginning. Tim had to make his way through a series of fictional movie sets, facing prehistoric dinosaurs, acid-spitting mummies, and even killer robots in a science fiction world. His weapons were a nail gun, a jackhammer, and an upgraded chainsaw. The funniest part was that the game did not come with an instruction manual. Instead, it included a single sheet of paper with the words, "Real men don't need instructions." Pure 1990s. Critics hardly knew what genre to classify the game as, and the fans were not very interested either. Although Tim Allen still received royalties, Home Improvement: Power Tool Pursuit ultimately became one of the strangest and most forgettable tie-in games of the 1990s. But it also showed one thing. If a sitcom became popular enough, sooner or later, someone would find a way to turn it into a video game. So, we have just explored 12 weird facts about home improvement, 1,991. Which fact surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We are looking forward to reading your opinions. If you love behind-the-scenes stories, little-known secrets, and weird facts about classic Hollywood movies and sitcoms, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell to join us in the next videos. Thank you for taking the time to watch until the end. Your support is the motivation for us to keep bringing you more interesting content. Wishing you good health, lots of joy, and see you in the next video.